Hello, everybody, and welcome to your Wednesday edition of Tim Talk. The date is February the 16th. It is about 5:43 p.m. And I know I've been off there for a few days, but I've been feeling under the weather. Went to the doctor yesterday, and turns out I got a ear infection, and my sinuses are all clogged up, and I got a nerve in my upper left arm, shoulder area that's making this part of my arm feel numb. Not all the time, just some of the time. So they got me on medicine for that, for all that stuff. Nose sprays, ear drops, ibuprofen, all that good stuff. It's all little things, but all just kind of crept up on me all there at once. Plus, I had to take my yearly blood screening. All that came back. All of it looked pretty good except for cholesterol. I've been on cholesterol pills for several years now. And then the numbers weren't bad. They were just outside of the normal range. But my doctor, God bless her heart, she's still gonna get after me. And as well she should. I haven't been exercising regularly like I should be. I exercise regularly, my cholesterol numbers stay exactly where they should be, in that normal range. So, and normally I'll start exercising again when the weather gets nice. I'll go out and do my walking. I usually walk about 10 to 12,000 steps a day, along with my other exercises that I do in the weight training. But in the winter months, it just gets so depressing. I just can't get myself. I can't even force myself to get up and do it. Sad. Need to be more disciplined than that. So, But anyway, now let's see what we got to talk about. Well, we've got a little, not much, but just a little blowback on that James Van der Beek's GoFundMe for his wife and kids, which was absolutely dumb and retarded in my opinion. And that man, all they did was a month before he passed, at the time he still thought he was headed towards remission, is when they purchased that house. And he purchased the house by getting his friends to help him secure the funds to make the down payment on the house. He wanted to make sure that his family didn't have to get uprooted and moved around. And at this time in their life, that's the last thing they need. They need to just stay where they feel safe and secure, and where they spent their last memories with their dad and husband, and anyone that says anything different, that would show me that they have no compassion in their heart, and that's just not good. They need to pray on that and pray for compassion. And then you got the Nancy Guthrie thing. Savannah Guthrie's mom's still missing. Don't know what's going on there. I have a bad feeling that poor old lady's already passed on. If she has, it's she's in heaven with her heavenly Father, and she's better off there than she ever was here. So, but I know our loved ones love her, and they want to bring her home, and she does deserve to live the rest of her life out naturally instead of having someone to take it from her. So I understand that, but I guess what I'm trying to get at is if it was taken, if her life was taken from her by someone, you can rest on the knowledge that she's now in the company of our loving Father in heaven, and all of her family that's passed on before. She's up there with my son, and I guarantee you, if she met him, they'd get along famously. So, Okay, and what else was it? Oh yeah. Robert Duvall passed away. Lived a great life. Had an amazing career. My two favorite films with him. Out of the so many that he had. I liked personally Lonesome Dove would probably be my favorite, and my second would probably be Days of Thunder, where he played the crew chief to Tom Cruise's NASCAR driver. Loved them both. Loved him as an actor. He always brought his A game. Just about anything you saw him in was absolutely fabulous. He definitely left his mark. And it's good to know that he's gone on to be with the Father. And I think Reverend Jesse Jackson, he passed away yesterday. And, I remember Jesse Jackson from way back being a little bitty kid and him running for president. I think against Reagan in 84, maybe 88. Probably both. I think he ran a couple times, but, the great thing about America is you can have, or what used to be great about America is you could have opposite opinions and you could express those opinions and you could agree to disagree and everybody'd go home and, put that on the back burner and then go out and have a neighborhood barbecue or, go out to eat with friends that didn't believe the same way with you, didn't affect friendships or families or anything like that. But now people just get ape shit mad whenever you don't agree with them, and they just want to send you to the gallows just because you don't think like they think. Well, newsflash for you people, this is America. You can say what you want, you can think what you want, you can believe what you want. This ain't communist Russia, communist China. So, if you don't believe like the Constitution and our forefathers, if you don't believe in the way that they founded this, that we can disagree, and if you think you have the right to hold people accountable to think and believe like you, then you can just take your happy fucking ass, pack up and get the fuck out of here. And that's just the way it is. We don't have no room for people like that in this country. This will never be a socialist country. It'll never be a communist country. It will never be a democratic country. It will be a republic, a democratic republic, the way that it was founded and the way that it should be. Although that's not working right now because people are abusing the system. It seems like even the best of systems can be abused and used to do bad. And I think term limits on senators and congressmen would be a great place to start. I think that a second place to start would be um, eliminating um, oh, eliminating lobbyists. I mean, because corporate America pretty much runs the United States right now. You know, like I said, at one time, the United States was the shining beacon on the hill. The great hope, and that's just not us anymore. There's too much infighting. There's too much infighting. We haven't stayed home and we haven't swept around our own doorstep in so long. We've been sweeping around the whole world's doorsteps for 100+ years. And it just absolutely freaking sucks. Not 100 years, about 80, I guess. Since World War II. A war machine that Dwight Eisenhower warned us about. Gotta make that money. Gotta get in them wars so we can sell the ammunition and the supplies, and we can make our pockets full of money, full of gold, and full of money, and full of gold. And the more money and the more gold that I got, the more powerful that I become individually, and my company becomes powerful, powerful, powerful. And then we're telling the government people what to do. We don't have to ask anymore because we got all this money, we got all this power. It's disgusting. Disgusting. Then we got poor old Trump. He ain't the Trump of 2016, I tell you that. This new one is just pitiful. Pitiful. Ain't done no good. Ain't done no good nowhere. Nowhere. The people that he's got surrounding him are freaking awful. Pam Bondi is, oh my gosh, what a clown. What a clown. He keeps dodging all the Epstein questions. You can't keep dancing. You can't keep deflecting. Sooner or later, you're gonna have to pay the piper. So, you better get ready. And, I'm not saying that Pam Bondi was a part of all that, but she's covering up. She's not indicting people with the information that she has. It's probably because her boss is on there. Everybody knows how much of a old whorehound Donald Trump is. Can't keep his pecker in his pants. So, he's, he was part of that Epstein bullshit. Most of them out there were. I mean, most of the wealthy are involved in that kind of crazy lifestyle bullshit. It's sickening. It's sickening. It's sickening. It's sickening. It's gross. It's gross. The things that they do to children is disgusting. They take them to. I just can't even begin to imagine how sick in the head one would have to be to derive pleasure from the pain of others. That's a whole new level of evil. Crazy, right? I mean, yeah, it's crazy. These people are nuts. And we have to share the planet with them. That's okay. That's okay. It's okay. Maybe someday we'll be able to expose them for what and who they are, and someday the truth always comes out sooner or later. You can't hide the truth forever. That's a fact, and you know, even if it's one little one at a time, even if we just get one from this Epstein file, one leads to another, and that one leads to another, and another, and another, and another, and they're coming faster, 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 faster. Then you get to somebody that thinks, I'm going down, I'm taking the whole mountain down with me. That's when you've got them. That's when you've got 'em. Who's really in charge behind all the true leaders? The true leaders of this world, not just this country, but this world. The ones that are leading from the shadows. I can give you a hint. It's the same ones that started the central banking system. It's the same ones that have always been throughout time. Hmm. Sad. It's sad. It's sad that they. It's sad that a country like the United States that was built on such a beautiful theory and plan has gone so far down that they're stuck under the thumb of a country as disgusting as Israel. I mean, those are the people. Those are the ones that were left after these Israelis are not the ones from the Bible. They're the daggone ones that crucified Christ. And they're the ones that the Lord passed the judgment on and released his fury on, in the first century by way of the Roman army, the Iron Army, the abomination of desolation, the Roman army. I mean, they're the remnants of those people. The few that weren't killed were led away captive into other lands. And they're just, they're not good. They're not good. or not, they they started, in the Bible it preaches against usury, which is basically interest on borrowed money. The Bible plainly teaches that that is a sin, or that is not to be done, that that's bad. It's not to be done. But the remnants of the city of Jerusalem, they brought all that back, and they started the central banking system. The Rothschild and the disgusting Rockefellers and Vanderbilts and Carnegies and Soroses and just not, they're not good. If you trace it all back, they're the ones that basically started both world wars. They come in after World War One and fought up everything in Germany and treated the native Germans like dogs. Treated them worse than animals. Oh, of course, they're gonna get. You got a madman like Hitler. He's a great speaker. Could rile up any crowd, make people really feel what he was feeling. And, that started it all. That started it all. And, they were tired of being treated like dogs in their own homeland. So they rose up. And, under the leadership of Hitler, they had a grand way of life. They were back. But he took it too far to the other side. And, and you get to talking about the Holocaust and all that stuff. And, I think it's about, there may have been some of that, but I don't believe it 100%. And the numbers have been so inflated. The number of remaining survivors has stayed. I mean, when you've only got 1,000 surviving World War II soldiers, but you've got 600,000 surviving Holocaust. No, that's just their way of trying to get. I would say it's a type of Munchausen by proxy. Feel sorry for us, give us your money, listen to us, listen to what we say. We know what's best. And the whole time, all they're after is power and money and land. And it's disgusting. It's disgusting. And, I can say the same. I don't want to get too far into that. I know what it is. I understand it. I can explain it. I could go back and pull out all the papers and show everybody what I'm talking about. And if y'all want me to do that, I'll do that. It'll take a little bit of time, Probably have to watch it on my YouTube channel. Only get like 10-minute videos on TikTok, and on the other apps. And YouTube, my YouTube channel is pretty good. You can, y'all want me to, just, leave me a message, comment. I'll tell you exactly what's going on. I know all about it. I know all about it, and it's not good. The whole world is actually, it's actually run in the shadows of. It's not ran out in the plain eyesight of the mass population of the world for them to see. And it's sad. It's sad that we don't know. Very few know the real truth, but that's the way they wanted it. That's why television was invented. That's why movies were made. That's why music was made. That's why people started going. They started putting on these big shows and concerts, and then along came the smartphones and the computer and the internet, and all this grand technology and stuff to keep the masses' attention away from what they're doing. And but I think they were just a little bit premature on the internet, because the internet, although it helped them in the beginning to keep the masses away from their what they were really doing, the truths. Eventually, what happened is people started popping up, freedom of speech and freedom of the press, and they started these sites where, before when they started blogs and vlogs, and then along came podcasts and different internet shows, and the truth started coming out a little bit at a time. A lot of people still didn't believe it. That's why I always say, don't believe me. Don't believe me. Do the research for yourself. I'll point you in the direction. But do the research for yourself. You don't have to believe anything that I put on here. I can give you the coordinates, where to go, what websites to go to get the proper documentations and writings and stuff like that. But what people don't realize, and I don't know why people so up, especially Christians, are so up Israel's ass, because Israel was never meant to be a nation. Israel was a people. Israel was actually, that's what Jacob's name was changed to by God after they wrestled. He changed his name to Israel. And then there was the 12 tribes. There were the 12 tribes of Israel. I think, and the only true Jewish people come from the tribe in the land of Judah. All the rest of them are Israelites. The Israelites are a people. Israel was always a people. It was never meant to be a country. Yes, there was some promised land that they were to inhabit, but that was not to be called Israel. That's just stupid. You don't just follow Jews. Jews are just from Judah. I don't even know. Jews are from Judah, not from Jerusalem, not from any of the other 12 tribes, or of the other 11 tribes. But they all get the label of Jews. They're not Jews. And if it's a Jewish religion, And if you say that, well, Jewish is a religion, I mean, I guess you could say that. I guess it is. But where did you get that? The word Jew comes from Judah. So does their religion, does the Jewish religion just stem from the land of Judah? I don't know. No, that couldn't be. That's just not. It just couldn't be. It couldn't be. So I just want to know where all this, why everybody thinks that Israel is supposed to be a country. You know, God did promise them that land, but then he 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 poured out his wrath on them, all that they had done in the Old Testament, the killing of the prophets, and killing of Jesus, and which had to be done, but still they did it. They did it. Did it. They. It's really hard. It's really hard for me to get people to understand because they're so indoctrinated and brainwashed by what they've been told their whole lives and what's been told for 2,000 years, that Jesus is coming back. Well, no, he's not. He already came back. He already finished his work, and, we're actually living in the new earth, and the new heaven has been established. What it all boils down to is, to put it in layman's terms, when Adam first sinned, we were disconnected from God. We couldn't go straight to God anymore. We couldn't, because we had sin on us. He sinned. We had sin on us. So what the whole thing is, the whole Old Testament is, uh, the God giving them ways to sacrifice to get rid of their sins, but they had to do it through these priests that were called the Levites. Basically, I think Aaron was the first priest, Moses' brother, and that's the only way you could talk to God, is through the priest, and you had to make sacrifices to cover your sins, and there was certain rituals that you had to do as you sacrificed. There were certain animals for certain things, and it was just a whole big mess, and there were laws that you had to follow, the Levitical laws, and you had the 10 Commandments. Those were the main ones. And, all throughout the Old Testament, that nobody could do it. It was an impossible task. It was an impossible task, and God knew that from the beginning. But it was kind of a I don't want to say a test or a punishment, but there was a reason he did that, to show that that man themselves, that humans, we could. There's no way that we could ever live good enough, even under the laws that he gave us, that we'd ever make it back to heaven and make it back to him, which is why he had to do him and his son had the plan laid out, and that's why Adam is called the first Adam, because the first sin came through him, and the last Adam had to be sinless, no sin whatsoever, which is why he had to be born of a virgin. And when he was crucified, he had to be pure. sinless. And people don't get that he was the last Adam. And by saying in the Bible, it says he was the last Adam. The last Adam means the last man in the lineage of Adam prior to the new heaven and the new earth and the new covenant and all that. So, the first Adam was sin. The second Adam was sinless. And in order to get us back to God, he had to be crucified, pure, and everyone, all the sins, all of us, and all of our sins were crucified on the cross with Jesus. That's why Paul says all of our sins died on the cross, are nailed to the cross. And when Jesus was resurrected on the third day, we too, all people, past, present, future, we were resurrected with Christ, covered in the righteousness of God, so that we could be justified. And justified means saved, for those that don't know. That's the only way we could be saved, is through grace, not by faith, not by works, as a gift from God himself. So we ain't close. And any of y'all that say, I've been going to church all my life, and I've lived a good life, and I guarantee I'd have made it to heaven. No, you wouldn't. Guarantee there's stuff that you've done that in the before Christ died, you wouldn't even come close. So get off your high horses and quit trying to boast. Like Paul said, he did it not through. You ain't gonna get there through works, so no man can boast. So all of y'all out there, just quit boasting and accept the gift. Accept the gift that God gave you through Christ, his Son. And that's, that's the whole of it. You don't have to live any certain way. You don't have to say prayers any certain way. You don't have to go to any certain church. You don't have to spend your Sundays kneeling down. You don't have to. It's done. It's over with. It's done. It's finished. Live your life and be happy. Get married. Have you a couple kids. Make you a little money. Take your kids out to eat from time to time. Take them to the movies. That's all you gotta do. Just live your life. You don't want to be evil, even though you could be. There are those that are, because that's all they know. And God couldn't save just a certain part of the people and not save us all, because we all his children. He wants us all home with him. which is why he did it the way he did it. He saved all of us. We all go to heaven. And now, if you want to talk to God, if you want to pray, and you don't have to, but if you want to, you go straight to God. Because before, when Adam had sinned, we didn't have access to God until Christ did what he did. Then we got our access back to God. The door was reopened, and now also our fleshly body goes into a grave, but our spirit doesn't. We don't lay in a grave waiting for a resurrection or a rapture or any of that craziness that people talk about. When you die, you go straight to God. You go straight to heaven. I don't know how all that works, but I know that you have a life review and you go over, I'm sure you go over what you did, all the good things that you did and all the bad things that you did, and any of your bad attributes, the things that you couldn't get over or you couldn't get past, the addictions and the lusts, the whatever it is, you've that all those attributes get thrown into the lake of the fire. That's what gets thrown into the fire, not people. And it burns those attributes up. It burns. All that bad gets burnt up, but not souls. Our souls are clean now. They're covered in the righteousness of God, and God don't see sin anymore because it's nailed. It was nailed to the cross. So, and like I said, I can do a deep dive into this if y'all want. If you want to hear more, just share, like, comment, give me comments, tell me what you want to hear, what you want to know, what you want to see, what you want to, I can go over the abomination of desolation, the 1,000-year rule of Christ or whatever it is. And, a lot of this it's not really people reading it wrong. It's that when they translated it from the old language to, just think of how many times those texts have been translated, and translated by who? Even Jesus himself said, of the writings, how can you trust the lying hand of the scribe? So, you can't really, a lot of it has been mistranslated, and the 1,000-year rule of Christ, it's one of two things. It's either, and I haven't come to a complete conclusion on this one. Some people say that it's a mistranslation, and I lean hard towards that one. But it could also mean a 1,000-year reign in heaven in the New Jerusalem. But I don't think it would be that, because I think he's going to reign over the New Jerusalem for all eternity. I don't know that for sure, because the Bible doesn't specify. Actually, here we are 2,000 years later, and we're trying to get this text together that it honestly was never meant for our eyes. It was never meant for our eyes. the letters that Paul wrote were personal, personal, personal notes to different churches that he'd attended, writing about things that were going on. And well, this is a person that today you'd get a felony if you got caught with one of them. You know, you took somebody else's mail. So that wasn't never meant to be in a book called the Bible. And anyway, he talked about the New Testament was never supposed to be in writing, but yet we have a New Testament. It's the Word of God, even though they tell us in it that the New Testament's not going to be in written word. So, you know, like I've said, and I'm going to continue to say, don't listen to me. You can listen to this, and you can take what I'm saying, and you can go do the research for yourself. You can do that. Talk to God for yourself. You want that personal relationship with Him. Don't listen to what any man says. Not no man. Not no man. You can take that as a starting point and start your own personal journey to having your own relationship with God. But don't take any man's word for anything. You've got to read, you've got to study, you've got to have that personal connection if you really want to know the truth. But if you don't worry about it. You're okay. All the work's been done. But, a lot of people just ain't going to believe that. I didn't. So I did my own research and, I found the truth on my own. But anyway, I'll get off here. Like I said, if y'all want me to do more on the New Testament and the new heaven and the new earth, and God's already completed it, or Jesus has already completed His work, and how we're to go to God now, and all that. I'll even talk about when the Romans destroyed Jerusalem in the first century, and I'll explain how that was God's punishment to them for all the bad and wrong that they had done. And yeah, we can do that. Just let me know. I'm gonna get off here. I'm kind of tired. Not 100%. I'll talk to y'all later. I'll probably get back on here tomorrow. I'm starting to get a little bit better each day. So yeah, I'll get off here, and I just want to say that I love y'all, and you all to take care, and I love you to be happy, and know that you've got love, at least from me and from God. And if you need anything, just hop in the comments, send me a personal message, whatever you feel like doing. All right. Talk to you later.